Well, hey, we're back, and it's a Sunday night, and it's the Sunday Bunch returns to SAFC Fan TV. Good evening, everybody who's tuning in. Hopefully, we're gonna dissect what happened yesterday when we played Burnley at home. But joining myself, we Philly on the panel tonight. We have Terry, the Mad Mistake. Terry, how's your day been?
Nice and relaxed and chilled today. I've had a nice chill. I've been for a nice walk in the rain. So yes, just ready for this chat about Sunderland tonight.
Have you had your Sunday dinner?
I've had leftovers from yesterday.
Oh, well, that'll do. Joining us by, as we were saying before we came on, the very knowledgeable Jack Shields. Jack, how's your day been?
Yeah, it's been all right. Not too bad. Sunday dinner for me, bit of a lie-in, watched plenty of football. And I was always looking forward to a good hour talking about Sunderland.
Fantastic. And as we like to do as well, as often as we can on the panel, we like to get a bit of glamour on as well. But instead, we've got Emma has joined us down here. Emma, how's your day been?
Not bad. Did a bit shopping, made a pie, chilled out. Out special.
Oh, well, fair enough. There you go. Don't forget, of course, we are live, which means you can join us via the live chat. Get involved in the show. Tell us your thoughts, and we'll try and include as many people as we can. Don't forget, please, to like and subscribe to the channel if you would. It's free to do that. Help us as well. Already on the chat, we have Peter Solkeld, who is up there first. Tony Lee sits along us from the match, says, all right, Monkey and the lads. Mick Griffiths is there. Marion Trowles, hello to you. Jimmy Conrad, Tank, RWA Productions. Ian Wilkinson is there. Alan Robinson already on the chat with us. So yesterday then, Sunderland 2, Burnley 4. Jack, we'll start with you. Overall thoughts on the game?
Well, it was very, very disappointing, wasn't it, to lose it from the position we were in. I think when you're 2-0 up at home, everyone sort of thinks, that, well, the worst we're going to get was a draw. And I must admit, as well as we played in the first half, we were fantastic, weren't we? We pressed them high up the pitch. We forced them to make mistakes. We had an intensity to our play. We created chances. I felt we deserved to be 2-0 in front. Both goals very, very well taken. We worked it well for the first one. Diallo slotting it in, and then the second one, good finish. Everything was going well. I sort of thought that Burnley would be better in the second half, but I think they really did step it up again, didn't they? And at times I thought that the football that they played was on another level to the football that we're at this season at the moment, unfortunately. I just thought it looked like a team that were ready for promotion and a team that were sort of building into the league, and we were the latter, unfortunately. We helped them minds with a couple of their goals. I thought were very, very avoidable. We'll maybe mention those later on in the chat. But just to lose the game from the position we're in was really, really disappointing. I think everybody knew that Burnley was going to be a tough game. But really, when you're 2-0 up, you shouldn't really be losing the game. But I think it's easy to look at it from our side and be critical. But I think you also have to take your hat off to Burnley and say that some of the football they played was very, very good in the second half. But just disappointing to not get anything from the game.
Yeah, fair enough, Jack. Just very quickly back to the chat. Ian Wilkinson says, evening, lads and lasses. Never a dull moment. Being a Sunderland fan, looking forward to the chat. Alan Robbins says, hi, lads. And then further down says, and lady. Ladies? I'm not sure who's on about there. Thomas says, hello, everyone. Jeff is on there as well. Ben Allison. There's football. There's a lot of cliches in football. Game of two halves. Never summed it up as well. Emma, yesterday, your overall thoughts? Sunderland 2, Burnley 4?
The overall thoughts, it's gut-wrenching. As Jack sort of said, it's really disappointing, the fact that we're 2-0 up and then we blew it. Basically, don't get us wrong, I would have took the point. I would have snapped Burnley's hands off for the point before kick-off yesterday. I was expecting the team that Burnley were the second half, I was expecting that for the full match. I was expecting them to come out and just have us all over that pitch. It's what they did second half. Again, it's typical Sunderland, though, a game of two different halves. It can't be consistent the way they play. And it's starting to get really, really annoying.
I think you're right, Emma. We said exactly the same, that we would take would have taken a draw at the start. But when you're 2-0 up and you start like that, it's not good at all. Just very quickly back to the chat. Mick Coleman says, "Hi lads, do you think Tony Mowbray is out of his depth because he seems just that whenever things don't go well on the pitch?" Terry, yesterday's game, your overall thoughts first of all?
Yeah, I mean, I expected a hard game from the off. I thought, like I say, a draw would have been a good result at the end of the day. But when we were leading 2-0, I was surprised how well we played in the first half. I was surprised how poor Burnley were in the first half. We went 2-0 up. I was thinking, there could have been 3 or 4 by half time. And then at half time, you're thinking to yourself, we have to make sure we come out second half and make sure we keep a clean sheet for the first 20 minutes. We can't let them back into the game straight away. Well, what do we go and do? They make change the formation. Vincent Kompany doing a great job, showed his skill and his knowledge by making the changes at half time. Obviously, give them a good welcome at half time as well. And they came out and they pinned us back. And time again, I would say Patterson would pass the ball to Luke 09. He just humped the ball forward and possession was coming back again. And we just didn't know how to combat that. And we're just pinned in. And our sort of defensive frailties sort of popped up. And to score 4 goals in the second half when you're leading 2-0, it's laughable to be honest. And the substitutions from Tony Mowbray didn't make it any better either, because there seems to be no game plan. It doesn't seem to know sort of how to, when you're 2-1 down and you're under the cosh, you're under the pump, and you've got a perfectly good central defender on the bench in Bailey Wright, why don't you bring him on? Why don't you make the changes? Why don't you? You're under the cosh. You've got to do something different. Throwing a load of kids on, what's that going to do? You're playing against, a very good quality Burnley side who are ready for promotion. Most of the fans expect promotion, and they've got quality players in there that have come down from the Premier League. So it was the wrong time just to throw a bunch of kids on. We needed to have someone like Bailey Wright coming on, and with his knowledge and experience, he's getting Australia to the World Cup. And I just don't get the problem that Tony Mowbray has with Bailey Wright at this moment in time.
Right, fair enough. We'll come to that actually, because we're bringing this up on the chat. We mentioned somebody said about Tony Mowbray being, Mick Coleman said about Tony Mowbray as he out of his depth. GS2000 replies to that, says Mowbray out of his depth. Are you having a laugh? He's been managing at this level and above for years. Also, Steve Royal on the chat says, I hope when we probably lose at Luton on Saturday, the Muppet supporters don't start calling for Mowbray out. And then the point you just made there, Terry, RW Productions are saying about there was somewhere else first that said it. Oh no, he is there. My opinion is why is Mowbray not starting Bailey Wright ahead of 09 in defence? He ain't a centre back, whilst Wright is. I totally don't get it. Any of you want to jump in on that? Why? Any thoughts on? It seems like he might be out of favour with him, because he's not even bringing him on as a substitute when he can make changes and stuff like that. So I don't know if he's out of favour. Anybody want to jump in? Bailey Wright?
Well, you think of someone like Tony Mowbray's experience, and obviously he's not out of his depth. I don't get what he's got against Bailey Wright. I mean, I can understand at the beginning of the season when he came back from Australia from getting him the World Cup and he wasn't fit and ready. And to be honest, I'm not going to criticise Luke 09. He's done a decent job so far this season. But when you're playing against a top quality side, someone who's not really a centre back is going to be found out eventually. And I would have no qualms Bailey Wright actually starting yesterday or even starting against Luton on Saturday. And I just don't understand the problem what Tony seems to have against Bailey Wright. I just don't get it.
And I think from my perspective as well, I think Bailey Wright has attributes that this Sunderland team is sorely lacking. He's got experience. He's got a bit of physicality. He's got a bit of height. I mean, how many times are we going to concede from set pieces? It seems like nearly every game now we're conceding from a set piece. And I just think we need somebody like a bit of, I mean, we've got Danny Barth there, don't get us wrong, but a little bit more muscle, a little bit of experience at the back. And Luke 09 has his excellent points to him. His enthusiasm and his commitment can never be faulted. But ultimately, I think now for where we want to be now, I've said it before. I think Luke O'Nien should be nothing more than a squad player, really, a fill-in player. But I accept we are slightly limited in terms of numbers. But I think, if there's ever a time to bring Bailey Wright back, it's now, because we're conceding goals far too often for my liking.
Yeah, but that's like I say, have they had a fallout, or does he just not fancy him? Because, like I say, he's not even using him as a substitute. Just very quickly on the chat, Mick Griffiths says, read a comment last night wanting Tony Mowbray out, which he thought was hard. Terry, you want in?
Yeah, look, if you're the manager of a team, of a club, you've got to be bigger than your own personal issues. I mean, if he's fell up with Bailey Wright, he's got to say that, he's obviously the best defender that we have at this moment in time on the bench to come on and start. He's got to be a bigger person. Now, hopefully he hasn't fell up with Bailey Wright. I don't know what the issues are, but for me, it's clear as day. The lad's got to start. Now that we haven't got Alessi, now they haven't got Ballard, it's the only recognised centre-back that's on the bench. That's not actually starting. We've got players like, got the young lad like Trey Hume, fair enough. He started yesterday, had a good first half of the game, but he's had no time on the pitch all season. So for him to last all the way through the second half, we were under the cosh. Maybe it was time to change it around, bring Bailey Wright on, have 3 centre backs, take Trey Hume off, or even just swap Bailey Wright for Luke O'Nien. But we had to do something in defence because the goals were coming. We could see they were coming, and it's normally the case. The manager's always the last person to see it, but you don't want to have a stubborn manager. I want Tony Mowbray to succeed, and I would hate to think that he's not playing Bailey Wright just because of his own personal issues.
Yeah, I mean, we're just surmising that. I'll come to you, Emma, just now. That's they could have had a fallout, but we don't know. This is only we've only chucked that out there. Emma,
could it be Bailey Wright's own personal life more than anything going on with Mowbray? Because I know Bailey's right missus had a very prem baby, so I don't know whether that's got a lot to do with it. Whether he's had a word with Tony and sort of said, "Look, yeah, I can't be playing if in case I need to run." Stuff like that, you know what I mean? So although we can sit here and speculate and say that Mowbray's had a falling out with him, that Mowbray fears him, things like that, could it be something with Bailey Wright's personal life as well?
Possibly. I mean, but it does just seem a little bit strange that there's an experienced defender there, he's ready made for the role, and he can just and he's not being used. Yes, Terry.
What was your thoughts on the game yesterday, Phil?
Well, I'm going to put the next question to it to you all anyway. Well, I was going to say, were we actually good first half, or was it just the fact that Burnley were really bad? Because our thoughts, yes, we were 2 up in 20 minutes, and we were all right, but I didn't think we pulled any trees up, to be honest. And I just thought that I thought Burnley were dreadful first half. I mean, they did nothing at all. And the position they're in, the players they've got, I expected them to be better. But of course, as usual, we have this thing of second half, Sunderland were never the same team, both halves. And before they even came out, I knew it just wasn't going to be the same. And once they started, like you said, Terry, everybody could see these goals coming. Simple as that. Terry, you was one then?
Yeah, I just want to say the first half, we had a high press. We had more sort of, we wanted them more. We were giving everything. We were all over the park. We were trying to win the second ball. I just thought we were the better team, full stop. And that stopped second half. Now, whether that was because they upped their game, they changed the way they were playing, and they got in our faces more, and they were on the front foot, then we accepted it and sat back. I don't know whether we didn't realise what they were doing, and eventually we got pinned back under our own half, where in the first half we did the opposite. We were high tempo, high press, and we're going to try and win everything. And I just don't know why we can't keep that going for 2 halves. I know you can't keep it going for 90 minutes, but at least keep it going for the first. You've had 15-minute break, apart from having a whiskey or a cup of tea, you should be okay in the second half. You should go again, the same again, and then don't let them push you back.
Right. Okay, I'll quickly pass it around to Jack and Emma. Just quickly back to the chat. Maximilian von Finkelstein, who sounds very German, which means I can get a quick plug in for next week, where we're doing an Oktoberfest down at the Saltgrass. If you're out and about, pop down and see us. Thank you. Dan Wilkes. Sorry, he's saying anyone criticising Mowbray needs some kind of tablet. Dan Wilkes says any manager would find it hard with the players we have out. Mick Griffiths agrees with Terry. Shut the door, get an extra defender on. Jeff says Terry knows his stuff. Obviously, no strikers, people saying down there. Emma, were we good first half? Or did Burnley make us look good?
Well, I think we were good, to be fair, considering what players we have got out at the minute. I think we did look good because, I mean, come on, we've got Bollard's out, Elise is out, Sims is out, Stewart's out, even Roberts was out, and Gooch, for that matter. I know I've slated Gooch over the weeks upon weeks.
Aye, two-faced, that's what you are.
But you know what I mean? We've got all these players out, so I think with all them players out, we look really, really good. I mean, it's shown since we went into the championship, it's shown that we can compete at the championship level the way we've been playing when we've had a full squad. And so with what players we had against Burnley, I think we were outstanding. We really looked good first half. It's just a shame we couldn't go into the second half with the same momentum. Because I think if we went into the second half with the same momentum, 2 of them goals wouldn't have went in.
Right, okay. Ian Wilkinson on the chat says, company noticed our 2 fullbacks had no one supporting them, no wingers. This was only addressed when it was too late. Poor team selection. If Roberts was injured, put Clark wide right and Bennett left. Jack, were we good first half? Were Burnley just bad?
Well, I think we were definitely the better team. I don't think we were exceptionally good. I think it was a case of Burnley being... I don't think they expected us to come out flying out the traps. You know what I mean? They were probably coming out and expecting a nice, steady, calm game from them where they can get on the ball. I think we caught them by surprise with the intensity of how well we played, as Terry's touched on. High press, getting the ball down, moving, the speed, the tempo that we played at was fantastic. It's always going to be difficult to compete, to keep that up, for 90 minutes against any team, never mind a team as good as Burnley. Half-time really came at a poor time for us because I thought we would look like we might have even got a third towards the end of the first half, and really half-time helped them because they were always going to be better. But I thought we were a bit naive as well in the second half, because as better as Burnley were, we should have played it more safe and kept it a bit more tight in the first stages of the second half. As Terry's touched on, 49th, 50th minute, they get the goal back. And then we thought, we'll go straight back out again and try and get what we had in the first half, play that game. And the game had changed. Burnley had upped a couple of gears, and you should have realised then 2-1, right, okay, we're still winning the game, but then the game has to change from our perspective. And I thought we were a bit naive as we tried to open it back up again, and right, we'll do exactly as we did in the first half, which I didn't really think that was ever on. I think we should have realised and smelt the danger that Burnley were in the ascendancy, and it went from there. But I think sometimes you've got to have a sense of perspective. I know people are going to criticise Tony Mowbray and his decisions, but ultimately we probably had a better start this season than a lot thought. I don't know, I can only speak for me, but I didn't think we would do as well at the start. And now it's more so a leveling out now as to where we are in terms of the league position. I expect it to be around about mid-table. Do you know what I mean? It'd be great if we could get in the top 6, but there was two leagues between these two teams last season. Let's not forget. We were in League One, they were in the Premier League. So as bad as a result it is, I think it's important to keep a level head with things.
Yeah, well said, Jack. Adrak, who is a Rotherham fan, said we had somewhat in common yesterday. Both lost 4-2 at home. You to a top side, though, of the Millers. Chris Scott says, continue this down by Easter. Don't be silly. I think we're doing, like you just said, Jack, I'm well happy with how we're doing. I think you're right. I think we've had a good start, and it's sort of like it's now showing a true reflection on probably where we're going to be come the end of the season. But of course, because we've had that little that sniff of a bit of success, it's now looking a bit disappointing, sort of where we are. Just very quickly, 32 likes we've got. We like to try and hit 100 if we can on a Sunday. So if you can just hit the thumbs up, it'll take you a second to do so. If you're watching on a mobile device and you have the live chat on, just close the live chat. You see the little thumbs up, just smash that. Just hit that for us and we'll see if we can get that up and get some of those likes up. And by the same token, if you're watching and you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Free to subscribe. Just hit the subscribe button, and if you hit the bell next to it, you won't miss any further content we have on our channel. It's becoming a big issue at the moment for me. This our Sunderland can't be the same team both halves. This, if they're brilliant the first half, they tend to be terrible second half, and vice versa. And I just don't know why that is. Terry, have you got any thoughts on that? Why can't you say, right, that's what you did first half, go out and do the same second half? Or if they've had a win, or if they're winning at half time, are they then thinking, job's done, we'll sit back? And your thoughts on it, Terry?
Maybe he's inexperienced, a lot of youngsters in the team. Yeah. Haven't got the experience. We haven't brought in really too many experienced people to help the youngsters guide them through situations like this. It's either that or just not good enough. Simple as. Maybe they're just not good enough. Just not good enough quality caliber of player. I mean, we're saying, yes, we're mid-table side and I'll be over the moon to 12 at the end of the season. For the first season back into the Championship, I wasn't expecting to get promoted straight into the Premier League, and I wasn't really that bothered if I didn't the first season, and I'd be happy with mid-table. But we're only 4 points off relegation, so as much as we've had a good start of the season, I think by Christmas is a bit of a level. I think a lot of teams who get promoted, regardless what league they're in, always start off the next season pretty well. And then they go through a bit of a flat period. And I think we've got to be careful we don't go through this flat period. And with players out, I know Roberts has only picked up a little bit of a niggle. That was the reason why he didn't start yesterday. And it's nothing serious, so he possibly could be okay by Saturday again. We've got to make sure in January we do actually bring some experienced players in to help guide some of these youngsters through the full season, because it's going to be a long season. A lot of these youngsters want to experience this type of, I've said brutality, but there's some of these teams are very physical, experienced players that's come down from the Premier League. A lot of these youngsters won't be used to this, so we do need to bring quality players in with experience in January, and not just youngsters under 24. That's what we need to do in January. We've got to make sure we secure this position this season, and then go for it next season.
But that's not our remit, is it? It's that's the system they have in place is all about young players, and it's
doesn't always going to work. That's the thing.
No, I'm not saying I agree with it. You're right. I mean, 4 points. 4 points off a relegation place, but this league is very open as well. We're only 4 points off there. We're only 10 points off top, and there's no one team running away with it as well. It looked, 3 or 4 weeks ago, it looked like Sheffield United had got the grips for this and they were going to run away, and they can't buy a win at the moment. And
I bet we're the only team that doesn't have a striker.
Well, we'll get on to that in a sec. Jack, any thoughts on why Sunderland are not the same both halves?
I think the young players are one of the factors. I think we've got a lot of youngsters who maybe this is a demanding league. As we've touched on, it's very physical. It's quick. It's intense, and I think sometimes it's hard for them to play at that level for 90 minutes. I think we need to realise where we are. We are a young side. We are building. It is our first season back in the Championship. So it's important that, all historically, Sunderland, one of the biggest clubs in this league, but ultimately we are a young side at the first time of asking at this level. So there are going to be games that you come and go and fade in. I don't think it's as much of an issue. It would be obviously more of an issue if we weren't turning up in any game at all and we were kind of just scraping the odd point here and there. So we are playing well in spells, but it's not sustained enough for us to get as many wins on the board. Do you know what I mean? And I think we need the fact we've got no strikers up front. I know we touched on it a lot, but it is a major factor in our play, because when you think of Ross Stewart, he's not just our goal scorer, he's our link-up man. is our first press when we haven't got the ball
as well, isn't he?
Do you know what I mean? So we you know, I know we've touched on it, and people are probably bored of me saying it, but he is a massive miss up front, and even Sims would be a good player up front as well for us. So it's important to remember where we are. Listen, it was hugely disappointing. Second half, I think it was CONRAD mentioned in the chat as well. You could argue that Burnley were clinical yesterday. I think they only had 4 shots on target, scored every one. Do you know what I mean? So sometimes you have to point out that Burnley are a good team, and it does hurt absolutely when you concede 4 in the second half. But I don't think we should get too worried at the minute. But you know, it is a slight concern.
Yeah, I agree with Ross Stewart. Like I say, not only for his goals, but you know, he gets back, he defends as well. He's tall. And like I said, we need that height. I mean, you're right. You know, you're saying yesterday, Matty 2406 says they were a Premier League team. Some people need to give their heads a shake. We will be fine. David Spencer on the chat says, simple, avoid the trap door. Colin Major, I'll tell you what, I'll come to this after I've spoken to you, Emma. Sunderland never the same 2 halves. Your thoughts on it? Any reasoning in?
Because the other teams figured it out. Basically, It's like, I want to know what was said half time yesterday. Did Mowbray just say to our lot, right, just play the way you've been playing, it's fine, we've got them all over. But then companies went to Burnley, yeah, look, do this, we'll have them all over the pitch. So you know what I mean? So has the other team figured out our tactics, our game plan? We haven't got a backup game plan.
All right, Emma, so are we saying, I mean, surely that's down to the manager then? It's, you know, is our manager not good enough?
No, he is, but the thing is, we haven't got the players for that that game plan, that extra game plan. He's got game plan A, but he hasn't got a plan B because we haven't got them players. Okay,
fair enough. Colin Major on the chat says we need to put some protection for the safety of our fans. We quickly spoke about this. They briefly stopped the game, and the announcement came up about the away fans had been chucking some stuff down on the fans again. And time again, we say how easy, you know, it must be to just put netting up. My mate who I sit next to said, you know, it's going to cost 10 grand to do. If that, I don't think it would even cost 10 grand. It's netting, for goodness sake. Get some netting up there, and let's avoid this. I still don't understand why that's not done. It should just be a given, and it then takes away any of this nonsense of away fans throwing stuff down. We've no strikers, as we know, and we're all on about January. You know, we gotta buy some. Do we need a free agent now? Like now, or can we afford to wait until? Because I mean, I've been away from the game, so I don't know the progress of Stewart and Sims. I don't know how far away they are coming back, Terry.
Well, I was told last week that Sims will be back next week, so I'm hoping he's going to be back next week by possibly bench on Saturday against Luton. I don't know how much fitness you can lose with having a bruised toe. So I don't know what fitness he's lost, but I've been told he's thereabouts, ready to come back into the squad. So hopefully be on the bench against Luton.
Well, hopefully, and if that's the case, then maybe this question has answered itself. Really, Emma, do you think we should be looking at a free agent now rather than waiting? We could be in the relegation zone by January.
A few weeks ago, I would have said yes, but now I'll say no, because I mean, how many games have we got? 2-3 tops before the World Cup break?
3 games, I think it is.
And Stewart's going to be, well, we hope Stewart's going to be back after the World Cup. We're basically going to have, hopefully, full squad again after the World Cup. So if we can see these next couple of games out, we're not going to need them. But then there needs to be changes come January. He needs to get a few more players in the January transfer.
Yeah, to be honest, I did totally forget about the World Cup break, so it's probably a bit nonsense. Jack, free agent, are we just going to hang on now?
I think if we were going to have had a free agent, Phil, I think we'd have probably had him in already by now. So I think we're just going to hope we can get it, points where we can until we get him back. It is a massive factor in the way that we play. Because yesterday what we could have done is when Burnley were getting on top, we could have, played it up and held the ball up in the Burnley's half a little bit more and built from there, maybe slowed the game down a little bit. The problem was we kept knocking it long and Burnley kept coming back at us. They were knocking it down with a quick, intense game and we couldn't slow the game down. We couldn't stop the game. When the other team's in the ascendancy, you have to find a way to slow the game down, whether that's keep the ball yourself, whether that's tactically, maybe, someone go down injured or something, whatever it takes to see that spell out, and we couldn't do it. So we're missing a strike from that point of view as well. Defensively, when we were up against it, being able to play it up to a striker and to take the pressure off. At the minute, we're not able to take the pressure off because we've got no focal point up front, and it is a problem. In terms of, will we sign somebody? No, because I think by the time that player gets fit now, free agent striker, by the time he gets fit, it's probably going to be after the World Cup anyway. We might have at least one of them, if not both of them, back by then. So I think if we were going to sign a free agent, we probably would have had somebody in. And the options out there that are available, if you look at the names, if you mentioned a few of the names, I don't think there's many in the chat would have many. People have mentioned that Vidra, but it's all speculation. But no, to answer your question, I don't think we're going to get anybody.
Right. Terry, you was one in there?
Yeah, I mean, exactly what Jack's saying there. The experience that we lacking with holding the ball up, slowing the play down. Someone like Bailey Wright, with the knowledge he's got, the experience he's got, he's getting Australia to the World Cup. It's a no-brainer to have someone like him in the back there with Danny Bart. The pair of them could work together and use their experience. They could have used that yesterday to change something, do something different, slow the game down, control the game, have a few little whispers in other players' ears, tell them what they're doing wrong. So I just don't get why we're not playing Bailey Wright. But as for a new striker, we may as well wait to January now and get somebody at the club full time and get somebody go out there and buy somebody in January. I mean, I've heard Ross Stewart's not back till January himself, and there's no guarantee when he gets back that you're not going to go through the same problem again. So we need to bring another striker in and buy an experienced striker for me in January.
Right, if that's true about the January thing, then because there was rumours going on about it'll be sold in January, and so they're just keeping him out so that he doesn't get injured, so that in January he can go in the transfer window. I hope that's not true. Just very quickly on the chat, Jimmy Stoko says consolidation equals relegation battle. We should be aiming for top 6 and see where you end up. Also down there, Anon says, forget the no strikers. We had one player over 6 foot yesterday. We had 5 injured players who are over 6 foot, which again harps back, if you like, to the Bailey Wright argument for getting someone in there. Don't forget, we've got 60 likes at the moment. If we can get to 100, that'd be fantastic on a Sunday. So if you just want to just smash that thumbs up, that would really help us out. If you don't mind, take your second to do so. Was any shining lights for us yesterday? Anybody who sort of stood out head and shoulders above everybody else? Jack?
I thought Diallo looked good. His movement was really, really good in the first half. I felt he got on the ball. He caused the Burnley defence trouble. Particularly, he got the goal, which hopefully should give him confidence. I think he's one of those that, he just needed a goal and a bit of a run. So hopefully he can maybe get a few more going forward. I thought Dan Neil looked good in spells. He's poor in the second half, but I thought he picked the ball up a lot in the first half. His possession was a lot better. He got things going for us. Jack Clark, I thought, did okay. There's a few did all right in the first half. It was just, how disappointing those players were in the second half.
Yeah, fair enough. Emma, any shining lights in the team for you?
I thought Corey Evans had a really, really good game yesterday, to be fair. I don't normally rate Corey Evans in. You'll go back months and you'll hear us slating him on here. But Corey Evans has been getting better. And I think Pritchard's been getting worse. Although Pritchard did have a bit of a better game yesterday. But for me, I think the one that stood out for me was Evans yesterday.
Right, okay. Terry?
The way I'm going to say it, and probably people won't like it. I thought everybody played well in the first half. I thought everybody was shite in the second half.
I don't like that. We're not having any of that. You're right. We don't like that at all. Hey, so you thought they were all as a team?
I thought they all did a good job in the first half. I thought they all equally as good as each other, and I thought second half they were equally as shite as each other.
Right. So okay.
Bit
then.
harsh, fair enough, but that's the way it is, isn't it? It's the way I feel.
Right. Yeah. Well, say it how it is. That's what it's all about. All about opinions, Terry. What about then this problem we have of having no strikers? Why? I mean, as far as I'm led to believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, because like I say, I've took my eye off the ball a bit. But Bennett, I mean, is it Jewson Bennett, Jefferson, or whatever they call him anyway? Does he not play up front as a striker for, is it Costa Rica he plays for? When he plays for them. So why are we not then sticking him in? It's as though we're saying, we've lost our two strikers, but we don't have any other strikers. And is he not a striker? Have I got that wrong? Is he not a striker? Terry?
It just seems to be a typical Sunderland thing to do. Square pegs, round holes. I don't think any other team, I think anybody else brings Bennett in and they will put him up front if there's no other strikers around. At least give him a try. At least give him a go up there for a full game. It just seems to be a typical Sunderland thing to do. We'll play him on the left-hand side or the right-hand side. We've got no strikers. Why not play someone who scored goals for Costa Rica, who's like a bit of a Johnny in the box? I've watched him get in there. He's fast, he's nippy, but I honest to God, like I say, I've been shouting for Bennett to start up there the last 3 or 4 games.
Right. Matty says exactly the same thing. Bennett plays up front for Costa Rica. Why not play him up front? Doesn't make sense. But what does make sense is exactly what you said, Terry. It is a Sunderland thing. We get these players, we buy players and they play in a certain position and we play them in a different position. I mean, it doesn't make sense. Your thoughts on it, Jack? Would you stick Bennett in as a striker?
I certainly see no harm in giving him a go. Whether or not Tony Mowbray thinks he's up to playing against championship defences, whether or not he's judging it purely on his opinion alone, and he thinks, I don't think he's up to it, doesn't really make sense if that's why he plays for his country. And at the minute we're so desperate for him, I don't see the harm in giving him a run out. Does it mean we might have to change the style of play a little bit? I don't know. But at the end of the day, we're really desperate, aren't we? That's the word we need to use as something at the minute in terms of striking options. We're desperate for anybody, so I wouldn't be against giving him a go. Absolutely.
Right, okay. And your thoughts on it then, Emma?
I think we should give him a go. I mean, even if it's just, 20 minutes, the last 20 minutes of the game, get him on, see what he can do for it. We're not going to be in a worse position than what we are now, are we? Especially after yesterday, we're not going to concede another four goals in the second half if he's on the pitch, are we? You know what I mean? There's no harm in giving him a go.
All right, Terry.
I think it was against Blackburn. Pritchard went off and Bennett came on and played up there like as a striker, and he was one of our first players to get a shot off. So that was for the last 20 minutes. I think it was Blackburn.
I know we've been, we have been bringing him on. For me, I don't see why they shouldn't start him. But again, I mean, the people on the chat are saying basically the same thing. I mean, how many games in now? Well, how many games we played? 10, 11, or what is it?
16.
16. So we're kind of way in the season now. Are you happy with where we are? Are you have we exceeded expectations, or do you think we're where we should be? Jack?
I think we're about where I thought we would be. I think when we were up in the playoffs earlier on, I think I was a bit surprised because, I thought it was going to be a bit of a step up going from League One to Championship, and I thought we coped with it very, very well. So I thought, first 6 games of the season or wherever, when we were mixing in the playoffs, I thought we were doing very, very well. But then now the form's gone the other way. Now we're starting to slide a little bit, and now it's looking like we're looking over our shoulders towards relegation. I don't think we will be relegated, but I think mid-table was about where we were. I know everybody wants us to get promoted, but I don't think we're ready yet. I think we're very much a work in progress. So, yeah, I think I'm satisfied, but I am slightly concerned, with the league being so tight as we've touched on. It's great. It's great if you're doing well because it means you can jump up the league, but the downside is when you're not in great form like we are, now I think, is it 4 points? We're above the bottom 3, 4 or 5, so it's starting to get a little bit touchy. But if we have a mid-table season, that there's nothing wrong with having a steady season and then maybe looking to go again and improve next year. I think our fans need to just sense of perspective. I know we all get keen when Sunderland's doing well. we all think we're going to get promoted. But I think just trying to remain level-headed this season is going to be a good thing if we can.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Like, I mean, it's so tight, this league. I think we have got to watch out what we're doing. But I must admit, me personally, I mean, I'm over the moon, because I thought when we was in League One, I thought we've not bought enough players. I thought we'd get battered, absolutely battered, week in, week out in this in the Championship. And I think we look one of the better teams. I'm not going to say up by Easter, but I wouldn't now be surprised if we wasn't hovering around the playoffs, and come the end of the season, at least be trying to push for, even scraping in sixth place or something like that. And when we were 2-0 up at half-time yesterday, me and my mate were on about booking hotels down at Wembley, and then we were laughing about it at the full-time whistle, but there you go. Terry, are you happy with where we are so far, and how we're doing?
I want to phrase this correctly because Philly's on the show. So we started the season, I thought, really well, and I was surprised how good we were playing football. I think we're very unfortunate, and I won't mention the word luck. We're very unfortunate to lose our two strikers when we did. I think it's just one of those things. It's just hard lines at the time. We could be doing a lot better than we are at the moment. And now, since we've had no strikers for a few weeks, we have had to change things around a little bit, and we are being found out. We are at a proper level now, and it could go either way. It's just whether or not we get Ross Stewart back, whether or not we don't sell him, whether we not get another striker in with a bit of experience, or do we go for another kid who comes in? We sell. See, imagine if we sold Ross Stewart and then brought a kid in to try and replace Ross Stewart. It just depends how it goes in January. It's all down to KLD, what he does in the January window, to see where our season goes.
Yeah, it's but the chances are, I just noticed my wife on the chat said, you will not be going to Wembley. And that doesn't mean that, I'll not be going to Wembley because we won't be making Wembley. I think she means if we get to Wembley, I'm not allowed to go to Wembley. Emma, what are your thoughts on the season so far?
I'm over the moon with it. I really am. I mean, I said that I'd be happy. We'll go up, finish mid-table, let the clubs out there know that we're back. We're out of League One. We're not going back, and get the signings, and then go up next season. So I'm over the moon. I finished mid-table, we're mid-table at the minute. But the thing is, the way we've been playing, we could be higher, and that's gutting for me, because we've showed that potential that we can be better and higher in this league. But I'm happy with where we are, and I'll be happy if this is where we're finished, to be honest. But I think it's only, 3 wins off playoff places? Sorry, no, 2 wins off a playoff place. Realistically, obviously, that depends on the other teams round with it, but... So,
I like the way you think, Emma. I love that. I love the positivity. Playoffs, going to Wembley, Premier League. I love it. Jack, you was one in there.
Yeah, I think we're well documented and well spoken about the fact we've had our problems with injuries up front, but I think we haven't really mentioned Dan Ballard's injury as well. I think he's been a big miss at the back. Do you know what I mean? We've had to try and Luke O'Nien come in, who's not really an out and out centre half, is he? Really, he's more of a utility player. Bailey Wright hasn't really featured, but I think Dan Ballard, I think we wouldn't have conceded the level of goals we had we had him for the first 15, 16 games or whatever we've played, because he looks like he could play. With a few years down the line, he looks like he could be, even someone that might even get a game at the Premier League level. I know he shouldn't really label that.
Jack, with us in the Premier League, you mean?
Well, us or another football club, maybe, Phil. I mean, hopefully Sunderland in the Premier League. But yeah, so I think, obviously we're missing a striker, and that's the key one. But I think it's important to mention the impact that Ballard's injuries had on us. We haven't had, Terry, you like to use the word luck, but I will use it. We haven't had much luck with injuries, not just injuries in terms of the number. The players that we've actually had have had injuries, big players for us, really big players in our team. So that hasn't helped the situation either.
Yeah, that's a fair point, that, Jack. Sorry, you want in?
Yeah, I think the first game he got injured was QPR. We're winning that game 2-0 at the time or something. We ended up being 2-2. So, it's one of them things, isn't it? it's just been unfortunate to lose those three key players at such times in the season. And we've got to replace those key players. We've got to replace them because there's no guarantee the likes of any of those will get back at the same level they've been for a while. It might take a while. They're really bad injuries that could take a lot more months to actually get physically fit again, then to get match fit again. So we could be talking like February, March before these players are actually back on form. Hopefully not. So we've got to spend the money in January, and there's no point sitting on your laurels and hope and think, yeah, we've got a decent mid-table side, because we could easily go back down into the relegation dogfight.
Well, as it's shown by, I mean, we've had a great start, but we have tailed off, and that seems to have coincided with Stewart and Sims being out as well. So you're dead right. You do, it is all about a squad game and having quality in your squad. So because you are going to go through the season, get injuries, and you need to plug those gaps. Just very quickly, back on the chat, somebody, I've missed it, so apologies to you, was saying about Stewart. Could be aware we need to get him on a new contract. And then further down, Alan Robinson says Stewart seems to have refused to sign a new contract. Looks like he wants away. Don't know about that. And then also other people mentioning about Bennett for Costa Rica. Matty 2406 says he does play up front for Costa Rica, and Mowbray is just messing about. McKaylee and Allen, who I believe is the Trinidad Mackham, says he's not. He just wears the number 9. So I don't know, but as far as I'm aware, he is the striker. Right, okay. Just before we quickly move away from yesterday's game, I'll tell you what we'll do first of all. We've got 68 likes down here. So 32 people hit that thumbs up, and that gets us to 100. We'll all be happy. We'll all sleep well tonight, and we'll love you forever. So if you can do that, just hit the thumbs up. It'll take you a second to do it. And don't forget, if you're watching on a mobile device and you have the live chat on, just close the live chat. You'll see the thumbs up. Smash that thumbs up, and let's get us to 100 on this Sunday evening. Was Patterson to blame for that goal where he whipped it in, and it was sort of it looked like a cross in the box and nobody got onto it, and it went straight in. Or would we be harsh sort of criticising him on that one, Emma?
No, I wouldn't criticise Patterson for it. It's down to the defending, really. They should have been marking them as far as I'm concerned.
Right, okay. Fair enough. Jack?
It's a funny one because it's one of those that the defenders don't want to go for it, but then the keepers doesn't want to go out in case somebody gets his head on it at the near post. So it kind of just drifted all the way, and it was, went in. It's one of those ones. I thought the first one he might have potentially done a little bit better with as well. I mean, he had no chance with either. The third one was a worldie, wasn't it? Lad stuck it in the top corner. As the Blackburn lad did in midweek, Brereton Diaz, he put it in the top corner as well. So I don't think you can criticise him too much, but the first one was bobbling around, and I think sometimes a keeper that's a bit more commanding might have come and punched it or cleared it. But I think you're being a bit harsh if you totally throw. I mean, it's not like it was an out and out mistake. But yeah, I don't think he was totally to blame. But I didn't, he's a young goalkeeper at the end of the day, isn't he, Phil? Do you know what I mean? He's going to make mistakes. He is going to make the odd mistake here or there, and he is going to learn on the job. So I don't think you can blame him too much, but he didn't have his best game either, if that makes sense. Right,
fair enough. Just very quickly on the chat, Ian Wilkins says, no, Patterson had no chance for all the goals. Matty 2406 says, Stewart has a year left on his contract, so plenty of time. But then Conrad Tank, a little bit further down, says it expires in June and it's time to try to renew it. Terry, would you blame Patterson for that particular goal?
Nah, I wouldn't blame him for the goals, to be honest. I think everybody could have done better, to be honest. I mean, the first goal, it was a header into the box, and then one of the smallest players on the pitch headed in the back of the net. I mean, that should be defended better. So for me, I mean, Patterson could, like Jack said, could be more authoritative in the box, and he'll probably get better as he gets older. But for me, that needs to be defended better. The second goal, it goes over everybody and it creeps in the bottom corner. I think, again, everybody could do better for that goal, and you can't just single out anybody to blame anybody for it. And I think Patterson's been so good this season already that it's been a standout player for me this season. And the third goal is a world-class goal, and the fourth goal is just shocking defending, let's face it. I mean, our player has the ball and we give it away, a bad pass, and then it's just a calamity in defence. So you can't blame Patterson for them. The defenders need to defend better. Defenders all around. And you can kind of blame Tony Mowbray as well for not bringing Bailey Wright on to improve the defenders to help Patterson out.
Right. Ian Wilkinson says Bennett is a left winger.
He's a left winger, but he also plays up front as well for Costa Rica. So for me, out of all the players, he's the one that's got more experience in that position. I agree with Ian, he is, but I think he's got more experience playing in that position than anybody else. I mean, Clark's not a striker, Robertson's not a striker, Pritchard's not a striker. There's no strikers on the pitch, so the only person that actually has done that job before, for me, is Bennett, and he needs to be given a chance.
Right, fair enough. The casual observer is on the chat there, says Speakman needs to take a lot of blame also because of his recruitment is utterly naive and thinking 2 strikers would be enough for a championship season, and then trying to palm Diaku off as a striker. Yeah, I sort of agree, but did we not try and get more strikers in? I mean, the Broadhead thing sort of rumbled on for quite a while and what have you. But, 2 strikers is not enough, especially when we're playing with 2 strikers up front as well. That's never a thing. Terry?
Yeah, I don't get the old tried. Is that all fucking summer to get 3 strikers in? Let's face it. I mean, no point pissing about last minute and trying to get a fucking striker in then. It's ridiculous. You got all summer to do it. Just do your job, lad. To let the manager have the people in the squad to actually, have a decent season. 2 strikers. You might think, we'll sneak through to January, and it's bit him in the arse, isn't it?
All right, I think you've got.
Not that he's bothered. I don't think Christian Speakman would lose any sleep over this whatsoever. Personally,
Emma, how much do you love Terry at the moment?
Yeah, he's took the words out of my mouth. He's 110% right. He really is.
It's common sense as well, though, Phil, isn't it? If you're going into the season and you're intending on playing 2 up front, you have at least 3, bare minimum 3. Do you know what I mean? It's like we've kind of thought, well, we'll be all right as long as we don't get too injured. Well, sod's law, what's going to happen? You're going to get both of them injured, so you should have the football knowledge to prepare for the worst case scenario. You shouldn't just think, oh well, if the worst case scenario happens, we'll just deal with it as and then. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. No, in football, you have to prepare for all eventualities, and it was a massive oversight in the transfer market. And also, the players have brought in have done well, but I think we're a bit one-dimensional at times. You know what I mean? We've got a lot of small, technical, good players, but where's the athletic players? Where's the players to carry the ball up and down the pitch? Where's the energy? Where's the physical players? The height, as has been touched on. So we're very good at playing the ball on the bottom and playing well technically, but when the game changes and you need a different type of player because the game's changed as it did yesterday, you're looking around and you're thinking, well, there's nobody really there. Injuries haven't helped either, but I think we did leave ourselves open a little bit in the transfer market.
Yeah, but like you say, Jack, I mean, you said it, common sense and Sunderland. It is common sense, but we're all Sunderland fans. We've had it long enough. We know that doesn't make sense. Terry was 1-0. Yeah,
exactly what Alan Robinson says. That's the reason why Alex Neil left. And I haven't got a problem with Alex Neil leaving for his reasons. The only problem I've got with Alex Neil is the way he left by not saying his goodbyes and thanking the fans for all the support over the last so many months he's been at the club. And that's probably the reason why Alex Neil left. What are the main reasons anyway? I
don't know for sure, but I 100% agree with you. I think Alex Neil definitely has left because of the lack of ambition from upstairs. It's, why would you go to, no disrespect to Stoke, but still, you got a club like Sunderland. But 100%, without a doubt, in my mind, Alex Neil's gone because of the lack of ambition from upstairs and not hearing what he wants to hear, is how I see it. Just very quickly then, because we've got sort of 5 minutes left, and I've got to whiz off because I'm because I'm at work tonight. I'm a grafter, as you all know, hunter-gatherer and stuff like that. So, so I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll quickly get your thoughts on Tony Mowbray then so far. He has got experience at this level. Are you happy with him? And is he definitely the man for us? Emma?
Yeah, I'm happy with him. I mean, yeah, I would have liked Neil to have stayed, but I'm happy with Tony. And I think he is the man for us. I think he's going to take us forward this season. He's not going to have won a relegation battle. If we're in a relegation battle under Tony, I'll show my bum in Phoenix Wind, and I'm putting that politely.
Oh, listen, let me tell you that. I pray to God we are not in a relegation battle. That's all I say. So, Terry.
If you're going to do that, Emma, I'm doing the vlog, mind.
No bother. But I'm sorry.
Terry, put your wide-angle lens on if you're going to do it, though. All right.
But all these people yesterday saying that they wanted Tony out, they need their head
Emma, I mean, you say, you don't think we'll be in a relegation battle, but it's that thing, Tony Mowbray has got that caliber of being a decent manager at this level, but the thing is it can only work with what he's got, and the team above him, what they'll sort of give him. And we've already said, it's so tight, this league. A couple of wins, a couple of losses, you're in a relegation battle. Jack, your thoughts on Tony Mowbray? Is he the man?
Yeah, I think he is for now. I wouldn't be pinning your hopes on him long term. 2, 3, 4, 5 years with Tony Mowbray at the helm. I don't know about that, but for now, I don't see what you gain by sacking a manager. I don't think any team that has 3 managers this early in the season, if we sack them and get somebody else, then that'll be 3 managers we've had in by not even half the way through the season. So I think you're on to a disaster if that happens. You're taking a big chance. So listen, am I overawed by him? Does he excite me? Do I think he's done an amazing job? No. I would probably give him maybe 5 or 6 out of 10 if I had to mark his spell out of 10 so far. Would I rather had Alex Neil in? Yes, if you compare the two, who would I rather have? Alex Neil, absolutely. But we're being pushed into the situation. So I think we have to give him at least one transfer window with Speakman. Hopefully the issues we've identified now, Tony Mowbray can see, and in the transfer market, they work out, where we are going wrong, which players we're missing, and they identify some targets, and we've got to at least give him that opportunity. I think he does have the experience at this level, but I think long term, if we do want to be going forward up into the Premier League, which is probably 2 or 3 years down the line, I'm not sure he'd be the man for that.
Oh.
But he's the man right now to steady us, consolidate us, and as Emma says, make sure we're away from the relegation zone, so we don't have to say our backside in the window.
Yeah. Right then. Just very quickly on the chat, Ian Barron's back. Hi, your favourite Darlington FC fan. Back. Hope we're all well. Yes, we're all fine. Matty2406 says, I think Mowbray to keep us up and then get rid of him to push forward. A little bit harsh down there. CONRAD Tank, Mowbray has done all right. He inherited this squad and has been unlucky with injuries. Bob Bass says Tony Mowbray is a dour character. Doesn't strike me as the type to inspire players. Undoubtedly, he has talent, but not for me. Terry, just very quickly then, because we're almost out of time. You happy with Tony Mowbray?
Okay, very quickly, I'm pleading the Fifth Amendment.
Right, listen.
No, seriously. Look at you got to give him the end of the season, put it that way, and see how it goes. It wasn't my choice. I didn't really want him to come to the club for obvious reasons. But he has the experience. We were forced into the situation. I'd rather have Alex Neil. We were forced into the situation. I thought it was just a quick fix at that moment in time. Hopefully, the experience will come through. Hopefully, he won't be a yes man, and hopefully, he'll foster some players to come in the transfer window and show us what he's really got.
Right. Okay. Right.
Just quickly, Phil. Can I just quickly? I just think that our fans are really passionate, and I love our fans. But sometimes our fans get a little bit ahead of themselves, aren't they? And I think yesterday they want them out. If we go and win the next 3 or 4 games, I'll get say 2 wins and 2 draws, and we're on the edge of the playoffs before the World Cup. Everyone will be happy, won't they? So I think in terms of getting them out, no, I don't think so. I think it was just maybe a bit of a knee-jerk to a poor second half yesterday. A sense of perspective is what's needed just for the whole season as well. And I think You can't be having 3 managers before Christmas. Come on. I mean, no.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying it's not about sacking him. I mean, I'm very much against sacking managers. I like to keep him in place. I'm just getting your thoughts on it. Quickly, Terry, because I am at work.
I've completely forget what I was going to say.
Oh, good. That really does help me out. Before we go, Nick Griffiths says to Emma, can you not bear your bum in Wilco's window? I don't want to have to go through to Newcastle, apparently. Right then, just about wraps it up. Thanks for joining us. 75 likes, 25 people hit that thumbs up. That will get us to the 100 we like to get to on a Sunday. If you're watching, you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. It is free to do so, and that will really help us out. Unashamedly, I'd like to chuck a couple of plugs in. We've been talking about the World Cup very quickly. I am doing the World Cup. If you want somewhere to watch the England games with a cracking atmosphere, I'm going to be at the Trimmers Arms in South Shields. They have what was a massive outside area. They've had a roof put on it, so at least it's away from the elements. And loads of people, great atmosphere there for the World Cup England games. If you want to come down to the Trimmers Arms, South Shields, Terry.
Can you get a haircut there?
Hey, boom, and that's why you're not a comedian. And also, one more thing. New Year's Day, when Sunderland play Blackpool, we are actually going to be doing a show in Blackpool at a bar, believe it or not, called the New Philly Bar. So we're going to be down there. So we'll give you more details about that as well. Thanks.
That's where he's been the last couple of months, buying a pub in Blackpool.
No, man, I thought
you meant you was being getting a haircut.
Listen, I'm just there. The reason I've not been about is I'm just full of busy. I've got loads on, and I will be back as often as I can because I'm missing you all. Listen, thanks very much for tuning in. Massive thank you to Terry, the Mad Mistake. Just about everybody, Terry.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a nice Sunday night.
A nice Sunday night. Emma, I would like to say bye, everybody, and either blow them a kiss or show them your bottom or whatever you want to do.
Bye, everybody. Here's to Luton.
And Jay, you've got to get your normal sign off.
Yeah, see you later, lads and lasses.
There you go. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you again soon. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And if you're a member of the channel, watch for your name in the credits at the end. We'll see you later. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.